tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I always just let the song play, as
Nice.
Phil knows.
Of course.
You gotta wait till it hits it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Screw it.
I'm waiting.
It's too much suspense. Too much suspense. Hey everybody, we are back doing the after show for your favorite show, Reign. We are so sorry we're a little bit late, but this is episode 2, drawn and quartered. And you know, I think the waiting was well worth it, ladies, because not only do I have one man, our new guy, Mr. JB Zimmernan, on the panel with me tonight, but I have the bash of the panel. Mr. Phil Svitek is back!
They were waiting for me. They were waiting for me. I am the reason we are late.
Really?
I'm trying to give you an out.
No, yes, Phil has actually been traveling Europe. So
I saw some castles.
You did?
I visited some castles.
Yeah, it was Reign research, right?
Yeah, I saw 3 castles total.
Nice.
Really?
The
Where?
last one was the best one. And I could show you pictures of that next episode.
Next episode.
But it was
we
also
did.
the one where they tortured everybody the most. It was
Really?
literally everywhere we went, and they killed 20 people here by
Was
dropping
it the
them in a
Tower
well.
of London?
No, I told
Dracula's castle?
you. No,
Oh.
they shot Dracula there.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Close.
Nice little trivia.
This will be revealed next episode.
Oh, so you better tune in.
Yeah.
We will be back to our regular schedule next week, aka tomorrow, when episode 3 airs. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. I will not be here though, unfortunately, but you will
very
have
sad.
Fania will be back, and you'll have these 2 lovely gentlemen. So
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
excited.
hold them down.
I know
Totally.
the boys will hold it down. The boys will hold it down. So huge shout outs to everybody kind of tweeting at us, making comments on our after show. It makes it so much more fun for us. Keep doing it. Keep rating us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Keep watching, and let us know. We'll start actually saying your names if you guys have great predictions and stuff on the show. So keep it coming.
Yeah.
Is there any that stood out to you guys this week or no?
I mean, just it's so awesome when you guys do reach out. Like, we totally read them. I gotta get better at responding. It's awesome though.
Especially this early on, the fan
Yeah.
theory is through the roof, you know, and yeah, we'll talk about Bash, but in terms of like how the play is going to be solved, I didn't think it was going to be as long, but now I think it's going to be a season long
Yeah.
problem.
Do you guys have any like overall thoughts on this week and on the first 2 episodes of Reign?
Ooh, I like it. I mean, it's getting a little darker, which is kind of cool. I'm wondering like how much that's gonna be. I mean, we sort of predicted Henry coming back, so I don't know if that is gonna play out like fully.
I just want to drop the mic or the pen right now because I predicted that, and the last
True.
episode or the last scene of this episode, which we'll get to later, but was Henry coming back.
Exactly. So yeah, I wonder if that's gonna get. I assume only it's gonna increase like the amount of spirits and that whole presence. You know, this is sort of the season 2 does the darkness.
Yes.
As the reckoning. So that's gonna be cool to see. I like that it's something different that they have to deal with on top of all the other issues that they're handling day to day.
Phil?
Yeah, I was wondering. I think this episode and obviously the first one, they've been setting up. You know, how do you get past King Henry, because he was such a big foil last season, and especially towards the end more so than ever. And as much as like the first episode kind of had Mary and the Queen at odds.
Mm-hmm.
But how many times can we do that? And they always keep it fresh, but you always need more things kind of in the works. And the fact that it's the plague, which is, it's nature to a degree. I like that. So they've built it up quite well.
Yeah, we'll see. So let's dive into this episode, though. And the first topic of conversation I would like to discuss is the Greer, Leith, and Castleroy kind of love triangle. I mean, last week's episode, we had almost a love interest for Leith, Castleroy's young daughter Yvette, and very quickly she was taken away, and she was killed by poison when she was actually waiting for Leith to come meet her. And this episode, we actually see Castleroy go and confront him and kind of call him out and blame him somewhat for Yvette's death.
Yeah, he was not too happy. He was kind of PO'd.
No, he wasn't. What did you feel? Do you think Castleroy had a right to do that, or what did you think about?
I think so. I mean, maybe not a right. I mean, that's sort of a strong, because it's not like Leith caused her death or did anything malicious towards her. His intentions were good, but at the same time, you have to wonder, like, would things have been different had they not met? Mm-hmm. There's also no way for him to know that it wasn't about Greer, given that history.
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing for him to believe that, like, no matter, there's just nothing Leith can do to prove that it was, all on the level that he was honestly just interested in her.
Yeah. And I mean, Greer, I do not agree with the fact that Greer told Castleroy what Leith said to her in anger. Like, okay, I get, like, Castleroy is going to be your husband now. Greer's kind of come to terms with this. Like, she's very much like, I'm doing this for my family. She's learning to love Castleroy. I think she genuinely cares for him, and she's trying her best to get over Leith. Like, the first episode, she was really, really diligent about it, being like, telling him straight up, end this now with Yvette so we don't make a mistake. And I thought that was very mature of her. But then this episode, she's the one going back to Leith, and she's the one telling Castleroy, like, oh, the reason, like, Leith went after your daughter because whoa, Phil, how's your neck feeling?
Feeling good.
Leith went after your daughter because, he's trying to get at me. And I think that was very wrong of...
See, I'm just a mess.
That was a mess. He's not back from the UK yet. I thought that was very wrong of Greer to do. I don't think that was right for her to tell Castleroy that information, and she did it out of malice. Is what makes me most mad, because she was the one making the mistake during that conversation, and for her to tell Castleroy that conversation between her and Leith because she was trying to cover her own butt, because she was the one who was so upset about Leith's relationship with Yvette. Poor form, Greer. Poor form.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was very proud that Castleroy handled everything sort of that he did. He had the confidence, like, he really took his role into his own hands and wasn't sort of like, patching everything up. He wasn't a pushover in this sense, like, nor with Leith either. I mean, he was like a strong dad. He was hot in this
episode. Yeah, go.
Yeah,
Lord,
I was like,
Castleroy.
Yeah, Castleroy as, like, really stood up for himself.
But then even after he does that, Greer then again goes back to Leith to talk to him and I appreciate you, Greer. I appreciate you apologizing to Leith because
she's very selfish. At least in this season, right? In the past, I don't think she's been as selfish. And she just always wants to be in the right.
But she has to be selfish. Like, her entire family, like, by her being with Castleroy. Yeah.
And that's fine. You could be with Castleroy, but just let Leith be Leith.
I know, and I agree with you. I absolutely agree.
The fact that you're teetering and you want his sympathies or whatever, it's too much.
Well, and she almost went to apologize him, I think, to clear her own conscience.
That's exactly what it was. Right. It's just selfish.
Yeah.
Because she was wrong.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree. So, but at the end, we find out that that beautiful manor house and that land that Leith is able to have, it was gifted to him by Francis for saving Francis's life. He got a title and all of that land, is actually now being taken away from him because of a stupid mistake by Miss Mary. And a horrible, horrible man that we've come to know as Lord Narcisse. But we did see that final scene of him going and basically saying, hey, this is mine now, and Francis wants you back at court, which is the last place Leith wants to be. Right. Because then every single day, he has to see Greer. But lucky for him, now Lord Castleroy is so fed up and kind of a little heartsick after the death of his daughter, and kind of realizing that he doesn't really know if he can deal with the fact that his young wife, he could never really have his young wife's heart. He's peacing out, and he kind of just left Greer and didn't really give her much of an explanation of what he's doing or when he's going to come back.
Interesting. Do you think he has given up on love with Greer? Because I don't think so. I think he is like, I need a break. I am better than this. Like, you need to check yourself, sort of.
This is the thing. If it's a little bit of like a lesson to her, I'm like, okay, you're not her dad. If you want to be like her husband, which is what he's supposed to be, I think you need to be a little bit more mature about this situation. I do understand he's been through a lot, and it's... What's
mature, like King Henry?
No, but like bring her with you. Get out of that area. Bring her with you. Get away from Leith and deal with it together and grow as a couple, not in France.
He's dealt with this his whole life, and you know what? To be fair to him, he's tired of it. She completely hated him up until the point that he was
acting
okay.
crazy.
Wow, this person is really nice to me. He can do a lot for me, and you know what? I'm crazy to fight that. And you know what? She fought that, and it went too far.
I don't know. I think he's giving up by leaving, and I think he knows.
Notice how the woman wants the guy to be walked all over.
I
think we're tired of being walked all over.
I'm not
Good
saying
for him.
Good for Castleroy.
Walked all over. He needs to take control of the situation and get her out of French court. Bring her with you. If that's your woman, you take your woman with you.
You are correct. I would have taken her with me, put her in that little carriage, and been like, all right, now here's your little house. Think about what you've done. I'll be back in 3 months. Done. Thank you. Good job.
I think that would have been a smarter thing. Get her out of French court. I don't know. I agree with you, Fel. I do. I completely do. Let's talk about Lord.
But then she's off the show.
I know. We love Greer. She is so pretty.
Gotta keep her on the show.
Yeah, I really do like her. Let's talk about Lord Narcisse. And we got a little bit of Lord Narcisse. Last episode when he showed up with kind of Lola's, the woman who helped Lola give birth, in a cage. Francis's cousin Louis kind of is like, don't trust him. Like, this is not a good guy. He's gotten most of his stuff by, sketchy deals, murder, bad things. He's not a good dude. He is played amazingly. I think the actor who plays him is awesome, and I just love to hate him. He reminds me of Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. That's who I thought it was at first, but then I realized it wasn't. We can't have another King Henry. He plays King Henry in The Tudors, so.
Gotcha.
If you're a fan of Reign, you should watch The Tudors. It is a great show, and there is a lot more sex scenes. So, hey, everybody loves it. The CW gave us a little one today, and it was kind of really awkward, so I don't think it was enough. But so Lord Narcisse has now come to court, and we've come to find out that he's actually the father of the noble that Mary killed last week.
Yeah, like father, like son. That family is just so
messed up.
It's the worst.
Really
I'm not
messed
a fan.
up.
It's weird because they're not just people that blackmail, which is like horrible in itself. They're sketchy about why they're doing it. Like, there's ulterior motives beyond the sketchiness.
It's all about power.
Right. Exactly. But they're like, he was telling Mary sort of why he was doing this thing, and she caught him in that lie about his son not being married when that's what he told her, based on the whole reasoning for why he wanted to kill that guy.
So yeah, he gets there, and he kind of arrives around the same time Francis and Lola with Louis arrive. The castle's finally opening up again because the plague has kind of gotten under control a little bit. They're trying to kind of dispose of the dead, and he realizes that his son is among the dead, and is pretty distraught over it. And the first interaction we really see him with
as a father should be.
Absolutely. And the first interaction we see is him with Queen Catherine. And we already know Queen Catherine is sneaky. We love her for it. But she has no idea what Mary did, because Queen Catherine thought she was dying of plague last episode. And I think his suspicions kind of start raising suspicions in her mind too, immediately, of wait, yeah, it's kind of awkward that he did die in the way he did and when he did. What did you kind of think about their interaction? Did you think that she was going to side with him? Did you think that they were going to start working together?
Narcisse and Catherine?
Yeah.
I'm always wary of Catherine. I think that she's always looking for just ammunition against anyone. Like, it doesn't matter if she has a use for it. She just gathers, like, blackmail intel. Like,
she's always
all
playing
day.
the game.
Yeah.
Always playing the game.
So I think that she is all, like, her ears are always open, head on a swivel for anything that's happening. Obviously, when Narcisse, like, sees that one person is still alive, that whole story, I mean, I imagine there was a guard that saw that too, or other people in the castle involved that, you know, Catherine has people everywhere. So she is basically the top of any rumor or anything that's going around. So I think that's her connection more so than her teaming up directly with him, because he's pretty bad.
I mean, I give the guy credit for being smart enough to kind of keep investigating and not take, you know, hey, your son died of plague, like just so simply. He was just like, no, he really investigated it. He wanted to figure it out, and he got real lucky. He got really lucky that one guy was immune when he went to the prison to get his son's body and got the full story, and then rounds up all the nobles and lies to them and doesn't blame Queen Mary, who obviously he knows that's the one who put his son in the prison, but he blames Nostradamus, who I've decided I don't like the shaved look for him. I want the scruffle back. The shaved look isn't doing it for me for Nostradamus. What do you think about his shaved look, Phil?
He you know what? Remember, there was an air of mystique last season when all these girls, right? We used to have 3 girls because you were replaced by a girl early on, JB. And then Megan left us, so we replaced Megan with JB. But the point being that they were all just in awe of Nostradamus, to the point that he had a nickname of Hostradamus.
Got it.
And then he took his shirt off.
Well, yeah, I know. I put 2 and 2 together.
As soon as he put his shirt off, they were like, ew.
Really? Oh,
so,
God.
Okay.
He needs more hair and more clothing to be mysterious.
I like
Keep the mystery alive. Okay.
Don't you just love his voice, though? It's a great voice.
I do. I think it's pretty. It gives a mystery. I'll give you mystery.
It's a sexy
I mean,
voice,
I don't know if I'll say that directly, but he's got gravitas. I will say that.
Ah, great word. Hashtag gravitas.
I would love to see a doll of this, like, you know, like the little Woody doll with the string and it hanging over Keaton's bed at night and just being like, "You will have the plague tonight." No. Just tell me about your. Well, he doesn't really have positive visions usually. No, he doesn't.
They're mostly negative. Just kind of tell me just say,
long may she
reign, long may she reign, long may she reign. Anyways, Nostradamus gets blamed for this, for Lord Narcissus' son's death. Says that he was falsely diagnosed with the plague, and thus all the nobles want him killed, or they want an example made out of him and the guards who put him, who imprisoned him. And he basically is threatening Francis by saying, if you don't do this, like, we're not going to be behind you. So you need to show us that you that you support your nobles, and, you know, we know why we're like, this is a pivotal point for you as king, to prove something to us. And obviously Francis doesn't know the full story yet. He's very confused because he has a relationship with Nostradamus because of Catherine's close relationship. And I feel like everything was so happy. There was that like happy little party for like 2 minutes where everybody was skipping around. Catherine was like joking about Francis and Mary's like bedchamber, sharing a bedchamber, and see how long that will last. And it was all, you know, fun times. And then they had to come and ruin it.
Right. Well, it's interesting how fast like they've had to grow up. It sort of went 0 to like baby and politics in an episode. So that's kind of crazy to see them hit the ground running with this new life that they have. I mean, before they were just sort of like, well, do we like each other? Do we not? Now it's like, I have a son, and Nostradamus is about to get killed, like in the courtyard. We gotta handle stuff.
Well, and
it goes back to the Queen's point of one life versus many.
Yes.
But it's also interesting because, I mean, the Queen's, as you know, it has been so protective over him. But the one trump card has always been the protection of Francis.
Well, and I do appreciate that Mary was immediately honest with Francis. I think, communication is so important, and especially between those two, for them to work together in the correct way. And she was very honest with them. She gave her reasons, but Francis is very right in saying that, Mary, that was a stupid and reckless decision. You should have had him arrested. And Mary's trying to make excuses. Catherine comes in. Catherine calls her out and is like, I know you drugged me. You right when you needed me gone, you got rid of me and made me think I had the plague. And I really do appreciate that Mary was finally like, you know what? Yes, I made a mistake and I'm going to go fix it. And she actually tries. She goes to Lord Narcisse. She tried that. She's like, let's figure this out. I know it was me. I know it wasn't Nostradamus, but Lord Narcisse is like, I can't touch you. You're the queen, or you're almost untouchable, to quote him. And Mary gets really shaken by him. He's a scary dude. That scene, what did you feel about that scene?
Yeah, he was a bit of an angry drunk during that scene. I was like, whoa, okay.
I mean, your son just died.
He's intense. And I think the fact that he's older, he's a noble, so he's got power. He's not threatened by Mary. And because she's so new to power, it's sort of like a challenge for her to do something about it. He is not threatened in the least. He's trying to get away with as much as he can. I
think it's almost easy. One of the easier ways to unrattle people out of their power is to do what he's doing with Nostradamus. Do it to other people. Because if he goes after Mary, then I think in some ways you could say that it's easier for Mary to right the ship. But in terms of unraveling Mary, the more you go after other people and that she feels bad for and responsible for, that's going to be even worse.
Well, and that's a weakness Mary has, that
right.
her and Francis both have that weakness. They care so much about other people that, surround them. And that's one issue Henry and Catherine did not have as king and queen. They didn't give a crap about other people.
They just crap about their sons.
Yeah, they didn't give a crap. And, Mary and Francis, I love seeing these scenes between them of their kind of discussions of how are we going to rule together, and trying to do the right thing, not only for themselves and their friends, but for their country. And it's a great struggle to see play out on a show. Honestly, I really, really like it. But anyway, so we see her and Lord Narcisse chatting it up in this room. The power struggle kind of goes back and forth throughout this entire scene, and in the end, Mary kind of catches him in a lie, because she catches him saying something about how his son was betrothed, he had his whole life ahead of him, and she's just like, wait, your son told me he was married. Wait, was he acting upon your orders to kill this man? And Mary kind of starts figuring it out, which it makes me see so much Catherine in Mary. She catches things so quickly, and that's I don't know if she's learning this from Catherine. I think because she's gotten better at it as kind of last season and this season, I guess, has started. Or, do you think this is just who Mary is?
I think a little bit of both. I think she sees certain traits in Catherine that she can take and sort of reformat to fit herself. I think there's still pretty big differences where Catherine would do all these things to just protect herself and her son, maybe the king sometimes. Mm-hmm. But Mary sort of only flips to that side when she knows it's for the greater good. She realized he's a bad person. I caught him in a lie. His son was lying. There is something above what you're saying that is an extra level of evil. Then she sort of flips and kills. She killed his son because of what he was trying to do. He killed all these people, so now it's justified. I think she waits for something to present itself as where she can be okay, I'm a judge here. I am going to step in and
Catherine always kind of plays 5 steps ahead, where
right.
Mary kind of confronts each situation as it comes.
She reacts.
Yes.
Catherine is proactive.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you,
yeah.
Phil.
See?
I'm so glad to have you back. Even though you're so tired and jet lagged, thank you for being on the panel. You guys, Phil is so tired and jet lagged, and he is talking Reign with us. So
there you
go. Be happy. So basically, as soon as Mary kind of figures out that Narcisse was probably the one responsible for this whole family's death, she has ammunition now. Like, she's like, okay, great. I have something I can use against him so that I can save Nostradamus, who she promised to protect. At the very beginning of this episode, she said, I owe you and I promise to protect you. So, and very quickly, that went to SHIT. So she immediately kind of goes on the hunt for more information to figure out exactly an exact way to get him to not kill these guards who are innocent, as well as Nostradamus, who are just acting up on Mary's behalf.
Right. I think she got really motivated by how bad he was. She was like, okay, I've legitimized it in my mind. I'm going to do whatever it takes to take you down. Like, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we see her and Francis discussing things again. Like, again, I love them being open with each other. They're so much better when they're working together than when they're working against each other. And we see a little bit of Francis's cousin Louis, who is kind of challenging him to be the better king and to not condemn these men and to think about, you know, the decisions he's making and, you know, who he's going to be. And is he going to be like Henry, or is he going to be his own king?
Right. Louis is a cool dude. I was very impressed with him this episode. I thought he was like the voice of reason and sort of came in at the right place at the right time and sort of laid it all out there for Francis to be the better man.
I loved Kenna's comment right in the very beginning of the episode, where she's just like, and he is not too bad to look at, or something along those lines, when she first sees Louis. Of course, leave it to Kenna to be the one to point out the hot guy, the new hottie at court. How's that make you feel, Phil? Kenna's looking at Louis. I know she's a married woman now, but
she's got too many guys.
I was gonna say Bash has to shut that down.
Shut it down, Bash.
You know what? I think she's accepted Bash.
I think she has too. Aren't they cute together?
They are.
I think I really like them together now. I hope they don't ruin that. I would be sad, but
she's gonna ruin that.
Yeah, probably.
No.
I hope not, though. I like both those characters.
It's gonna be the woman's fault.
I accept Kenna for who she is. Who she is.
Who she is as a extremely attractive woman.
So
one who goes for things. You praised her on her womanness last season.
I know.
And you know
and
what?
I still like Kenna. But she's a married woman now. Like, I go for what you want. But right now, I honestly think right now, Kenna wants to have a happy life. And, happy life, happy wife. So maybe she needs a little Louis in her life. I don't know, Bash. Are you still? He's no longer the master of horse and hunt.
True, but he's about to get. Yeah, of course, yeah. He can still be the master of that. But I think he's about to be promoted to a new role.
Yes. We'll get to that. He's basically gonna. We'll get to that. Let's finish talking about Narcisse.
Of course.
Narcisse. So, Francis, Mary, they literally have less than 24 hours to get something against Narcisse, so they can free these men. Mary, even though she's still having kind of issues with Lola, gets Lola's help to kind of come in and kind of do some more research. Lola finds out that the man that Narcisse killed, Valand, who Narcisse really wanted to kill, he gave a confession the night before he was knocked off. And so Mary goes and talks to that priest to get more information. But obviously, if anything is told to a priest in confession, like, that is void. Like, you can't use that in court. Like, he can't sit up on a chair and like be like, yes, that's what he said. That's against their religion. Nobody will take that as fact. And so Mary has to find a way to use that information against Narcisse. So Mary, being the smart Mary that she is, takes his seal and makes two kind of letters, fake letters, that she runs into after Nostradamus is basically tied up, being pulled by horses, runs in to save the day, shows him these letters, and then Francis comes in and frickin' is like, Mary, go back to our chambers. like really tells her off in such a rude way. And I was like, are you serious, Francis, right now? Are you seriously? He's like, you are not king. I will deal with this. He takes those 2 letters and then he uses those 2 letters as leverage to get Narcisse on his side and be like, I'm going to protect you, so I need you to protect me. Narcisse agrees. He's like, I want some land though too for kind of, I love how he's like, give me land and I'll be okay with the fact that my son was murdered. Francis is like, okay, burns the letters. Then we see him go around the corner and who's waiting for him but his lovely wife, Mary. And we find out they just put on this great show and there were no letters. They just kind of used it to blackmail him and to get what they want.
This has been a strategy of hers with letters.
Yes.
Remember last season with Kenna and the Queen?
Yeah.
It's becoming a thing.
I mean, it's like using like text messages to like, I saved this text message. I know what you said. Remember back in the day with like AIM? Like you could like print out the conversations you had with somebody and like hold, I don't know. In middle school,
you used to
like
blackmail people with the
AIM
AIM conversation.
I
Watch
mean,
out for her.
Yeah.
back in the day.
The old red and blue.
God, I just
fonts.
learned it all from Mary.
Well, yeah, it's crazy that that's the only form of media or anything that they have. I mean, that's the only communication other than sending someone to tell them something
like a
else.
messenger, a personal
It's the
messenger.
only like the way that word spread. So it's
And there's only one copy.
Yeah, and it's funny that just a seal, like just that man's seal, is gonna put fear in Lord Narcisse's heart about like thinking, oh my God, that can't go to the Vatican. They'll know that I killed the cardinal. Because basically because we really didn't get into like what she's blackmailing him with is that Lord Narcisse had a cardinal killed to get land to get land. He had a bunch of people killed because he kind of used the plague as a mask to gain more land and wealth for himself. So he murdered all these people because they were just making mass graves and like you could easily hide it. And so Valand wanted to tell the truth because they killed a cardinal, and Narcisse did not want him to tell anybody the truth, so he had him killed before he could tell the truth, but not before he could go to confession. So anyway, hopefully Lord Narcisse is not too much of a pain in their side, but I feel like he's such a good villain. He's gonna stick around and continue to cause issues.
Oh, he'll be back for sure.
Oh yeah, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he has laced land now. He's just a little ways away, and
I just feel bad for Laith. He just gets slapped around.
I know,
kind
poor
of.
Laith. I love Jonathan Keltz is just so good. I'm so glad you have a bigger part this season. He's so great. He came in studio last season. So,
Right, yeah,
the guy who
he
played
was
Blake.
guest here.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
Sat
he
in
comes
your
back
chair.
in.
He did
Really?
say, yeah,
Oh, God,
I drank a beer with him. He was great.
Nice.
He didn't sit in that chair.
He didn't. He
He
sat
sat
next
next
to
to
me.
Keetin.
That's okay. Bash sat in that chair.
Nice. It's the best chair.
Torrance sat in that chair. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about Lola and the baby. I know we kind of briefly talked about it, but the episode does open up a little bit with Lola returning with this baby, Francis returning too, and it's another conflict in him and Mary's relationship now is, you know, is he going to legitimize his son? Is he going to let the son take his name, or is he not going to do that? And Lola kind of just doesn't care. Lola is such a free spirit. She's kind of like the hippie. She's just like, all I really care about is being a mother, and I just want my son to have a good life. She doesn't care about all the politics and stuff, but she does care about her friendship with Mary, which I do appreciate. I don't even think she cares that much if Francis is in her son's life. I think she honestly cares more about her friendship with Mary.
I think so too. It's interesting that she sort of gave up also finding a husband. Like that's no longer a huge priority.
She's
it's
got her
just,
little man.
Yeah.
Her little man Robert, which she likes to call. She started to call him Robert. But you know, at the beginning of this episode, we see that Mary is just like, no, please don't take him. Like everybody's looking at me. Not only France, not only everybody here in court, but Scotland as well. You know, waiting for me to produce an heir. And if that's your only, like if he's the only son you ever have, you know, what's that going to look like to Scotland? What is that going to look like on me? Like it's a lot of pressure on Mary.
Right, especially since just by the fact that he had a child with someone else, that means that
He's good.
He's good to
He's
go.
good.
He's
I still get
doing
mad
what
at,
he needs to
I
do.
still get mad at Mary though when she keeps like saying, you know, Frances, like, it's your mistake. Because she basically blames Frances's mistake of getting Lola pregnant for the reason that Lord Narcisse is trying to kill Nostradamus. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Back up, Mary. Like, you were basically engaged to Bash and all for it. And Frances thought he was never going to, like, obviously he shouldn't have slept with your best friend, but in his situation, to be in his shoes, he
was just being comforted.
Yeah, and he didn't think he was ever going to see Mary again.
Plus,
so like, get over it.
I think she was very much in the wrong for this because she was with his brother. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like,
you're bashing with Bash.
Before he did that, she turned him away. She like exiled Frances and got engaged to his brother. Like, how could that? I mean, granted, they probably didn't do anything before the marriage, like other than kiss or something. But.
I was very surprised though by Catherine's like reaction to this baby. Catherine very quickly figured it out. She figured, well, Lola got pregnant with Frances's baby, and she advises Frances to take the baby's name. Like this, it was so sweet to see that conversation between Frances and Catherine down in the crypt. It was a little creepy that it was in the crypt with Henry.
With Henry.
Him
it was
asking,
a family
you know,
meeting.
What kind of father do you think you're going to be? And, you know, what kind of king? And just telling him how, you know, you should let this baby be your own because you will regret it if you don't. And it will make you so happy throughout life to have this side of, like, make the happiest moments of your life. So I love seeing that side of Catherine.
Yeah, it was a great scene. I mean, I think that she was speaking from the heart, but part of me thinks that, I mean, just because I'm always like, I'd never let my guard down with Catherine, so I feel like she could be doing it for something down the line, some ulterior motive.
She's playing a few steps ahead.
Right. I mean, she always does, so I just expect that from Catherine, like, no matter what she's saying. But I think that she was also speaking from the heart, too.
What do you think, Phil? Do you think she wants... Because Catherine didn't accept Bash. So, like,
she didn't accept Bash, but it's ironic, you know, speaking of Henry, like, Bash used to be the favorite son. Mm-hmm. You know, because Frances was such a putz early on in season 1.
He was just sickly.
So I don't know. Maybe she actually recognizes that. Maybe she's inspired by Henry. And see, I don't know. But I think there's always an alternative motive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do really like that by the end of the episode, Mary has decided to encourage Frances to legitimize the baby. She wants the baby to have his name, and you know, she thinks it will make this baby safe. Like, one of the things is she's like, I want it to protect him. I think by you giving Robert or the baby your name, it's going to protect him. And I disagree with that. I think by them knowing there's a bastard or an heir basically running around right now, or the only heir, I think that kind of puts a target on this poor baby's back.
But it's what worse, rumor or confirmation?
Yeah, okay. I mean, but still, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know if that was a strong thing, but Mary does give her blessing for Frances to give the baby her name and to recognize it. And she says how she doesn't want the relationship that Catherine had with Bash to be the relationship that she has with this child. She wants to have a good relationship with this child. They're going to be a blended family, and you know, try to work this thing out. And you know, they're in the nursery, and Mary leaves, and then the wet nurse comes in, and Frances is holding his baby, who now, you know, he can be like, this is my son. And
yes, just awkwardly holding this baby.
Very, very strangely holding the baby. But this is my son, and the wet nurse comes in and very, very quickly starts speaking in a creepy, deep voice. And we find out that it's actually Henry's spirit has kind of taken over this woman's body and calls Frances out as being a usurper. And basically calls him out for murdering him. And then she very quickly snaps back into herself and doesn't remember a thing. And that kind of put the fear of the ghost into Frances, who, when Bash had come up to him earlier in this episode and been like, hey, I think we need to be worried about this. We need to keep Nostradamus alive. there's something coming, there's a reckoning coming. Francis doesn't really fully believe him, I don't think. And
well, because after last season, where basically because of one prophecy, he was exiled, could have been killed, and all this other stuff. I think he's done with prophecies for a while.
But this isn't a prophecy from Nostradamus. This is like your brother Bash, who at the very beginning of the episode when
he's done with speculation.
Right.
I know. But can we talk about the brotherly love? There was so much brotherly love in this episode.
There was.
I love them. They're hugging. They're like, he's like, Bash, I want you to be the hand of the king. And Bash is like, I don't really know if I want to do politics with you. But by the end of the episode, he's like, you know what? I want to protect you. And the best way for me to protect you is to be your right-hand man because you can trust me. And they have this fun little like knighting ceremony. And
yeah, I love that scene just because, you know, they are older brother and younger brother, but they're also king and
deputy.
Yeah, deputy, exactly. So it was an interesting dynamic because those roles are reversed, where the younger brother is the king. So it was interesting to see that power dynamic sort of switch back and forth. You know, he said like, "Oh, well, you're the king, so you can do anything." And then Francis wasn't really getting it, so Bash was like, "Okay, so then give me the job." Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting to see him sort of be an older brother, but at the same time, like, be under.
And again, Bash is kind of like the one deal. Like Bash was the one who, because of his pagan background, really kind of dealt with the darkness last season. He's the one also that's, you know, saw the first spirit last week and then was, you know, talking to the gravedigger to get information about Lord Narcisse, and speaks to this village woman who talks about, you know, the plague has opened up this door, or has knocked down this door, and it's still open, and spirits are going back and forth through this door, and there's gonna be a oh my god, what's the word? Reckoning. There's gonna be a reckoning, and kind of confirms to Bash a little bit of like, you know, it's not only spirits are talking to you, but other people in the village are feeling this and seeing this, and there are reports that guards are hearing screams from empty rooms of where plague victims were, and all of this stuff. And so, you know, it was, and he warns Francis about this, and Francis kind of blows it off. But then I wonder how Francis now is going to deal with the situation, because he's dealt with it firsthand. Like, he's had a spirit speak to him, a spirit that is angry at him and wants revenge against him. So, you know, how is that going to be dealt with? Are we going to see King Henry again? Please, can we see our favorite DILF again? I would love it.
JB's favorite, certainly.
Do you know? You don't know about our favorite DILF?
What?
You know
King Henry, I assume.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey, he tweeted. He tweeted at Fania and I. He said he'd come in studio if he's in LA.
I bet he would.
Everybody out there, keep tweeting at him. Like, we got to get him in. We got to get you to LA and get you in studio. King Henry, I love it.
Where's he gonna sit?
He can. I will sit on his lap. He can sit in my chair. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like this episode, how everybody kind of ends in this episode. Francis is freaked out by that sketchy scene, which when I watched that scene, I watched the episode late at night, and I had to watch like The Tonight Show with JB Fallon because I was so scared and I couldn't go to bed. I was really shaken up by that scene. Nostradamus leaves. Nostradamus is like super hurt, and Mary kind of helps him leave.
Yeah, I actually do want to talk about Nostradamus for a second, because
let's talk about him.
Even though he's still clean shaven and maybe not as mysterious as he once was, I think he still, you know, maintains himself so much. Like, he is not afraid of Catherine. He totally pulled that card, was like, you need me more than I need you. Like, I will die. And what, like,
I love that you brought that scene up, because, you know, the scene with Catherine and Nostradamus in his jail cell right before he's being brought out, and Catherine, he's just like, what's your plan? Because Catherine always has a plan, and Catherine is like, sorry about ya. And she's like, I will build you a statue in Paris.
Right. Well, yeah, and he put it so well. He gave her just enough so she was so unsure, and so just like knocked off her, you know, her stability, and not too much where he gave anything away. It just left it so ambiguous. It was just like, well, now you just are plagued with questions.
I know.
So live
and
with that.
We hear about Clarissa again. Crazy Clarissa.
Oh, she's definitely coming back.
Oh, she's coming back soon. And I wonder if Clarissa will have a connection with the ghost. But, yeah, we do see as he's being dragged out, Catherine's like, tell me, just tell me, what did you see? What did you see? And he goes, ask my statue.
Yeah, such a boss move.
It was
That's very
definitely
impressive,
a
man.
boss move. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we missed from this episode? I know it's been like almost a week, but I think we got everything. If we missed anything, we'll talk about it tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Or you guys will talk about it tomorrow night.
And we will.
Because I will miss you all so much. I will have to tweet out all my predictions and stuff, but I'll be gone for a couple of weeks. But anyways, do you guys want to get into predictions?
Yes, let's.
Do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
This is freaking me out again.
What, the lights?
Yeah.
It's the prediction.
Phil, I
lights.
want predictions from you, Phil. You've been quiet. I know you're tired.
This is gonna be tough. You know, they've done a good job. So far, we've kind of kept to a closer timeline than we normally do. We usually skip a bunch of months and things like that. So I think next episode it's gonna feel right to skip a couple episodes, or not a couple episodes, but a few months.
Okay.
Where we'll end up, I don't think we'll be in the winter time yet because Canada doesn't have its winter quite yet. I don't know. I'm interested to, you know, obviously there's the big players that are going to make a splash, but I'm interested in the B storylines. Like, what's Kenna and Bash going to do? What is Greer going to do now? Those are the ones that I'm really interested in because, you know, the A storyline is going to continue, but then it's going to be the side stuff that.
Well, and then the scenes for next week. I don't know if you saw the scenes for next week.
No, mine
Phil.
always get cut off.
They've all run out of food, so kind of people are getting a little crazy. Not only did the plague just happen, but because of the plague, this was a little bit of a prediction in last episode. They talked a little bit how now there's kind of a famine, and so you know, obviously all the people at court get to eat as much as they want, but all the villagers are starving, and so they're starting to turn against the king and queen and kind of the royals and the lords and the nobles. So
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with Phil. I think that there's B storylines that I'm really interested in seeing happen. Like basically Lola as the baby's mama. Like how is that going to play out is probably my number one. I'm interested how Narcisse, what happens with him with his new land. I think maybe they were sort of playing, you know, keep your friends close, your enemies closer, having him be like claim that land that was proximity-wise so close to them. But it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the famine, how they deal with everything. I also want to see Cousin Louie make a splash in the scene.
I have a couple predictions. I think as Laith heads back to court, Laith is going to be put on Francis's privy council along with Bash, and I think along with Louis. Louis will be put on the privy council and asked to stay at court.
I like that. I like that. We're going to call him that.
So what should I call him, Louis? What do you want me to call him?
Cousin Lou?
No, I'm talking about the privy
council.
Yeah.
It's a privy council. That's what it's called, Belle. It's a proper term for it. I think Louis is going to get very close to Mary, and as Francis gets close to Lola, because I think now, especially that Francis can give the baby his name, Lola's obviously going to be an official mistress of Mr. Francis, and thus they're gonna have a different type of relationship, and that's gonna be another person Francis can confide in when he's pissy at Mary, which they get pissed at each other a lot. So I think Mary, because Mary can't talk to Bash anymore really, because Bash and Kenna kind of have a relationship, I think she's gonna get close to Louis.
I think him and Lola are gonna have a very personal relationship, like what we are supposed to have with a family.
Yes.
And I think with Mary, it's always gonna be business.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Business,
even
and
down to
sometimes
the family stuff of like, all right, it's 7:00, let's do this.
Are you ovulating? No, but we saw them kind of have like a little kind of reunion sex in this episode. It was a really awkward scene. I don't know if the chemistry has just been lost between them or what.
It's been a while. I mean,
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird for me. I don't know if it was cut weird. If it was almost like the shots were just a little too long. I don't know, but the actual like the little romantic scene that they had was really awkward. I liked the conversation after when she was telling him about like her struggles, but I don't know. Did anybody else feel that, or was it just me?
He's a father now. He's a different guy.
I know, but like, come on. They used to have so much passion and romance, and I lost a little bit of it. I hope they get it back. I do, because Mary needs that, I think.
Definitely. Well, yeah, I am curious about how cousin Louis's like other religion. I guess he's a Protestant, I think. Or so,
no,
like,
he's not a Protestant. He wants more of the power or less of the power to be coming from the Vatican and more of it to be coming from the actual leader of France, the King and Queen of France. So he's still he's Catholic, but he doesn't. And I think, this is what's going to bring in, because I remember last season we did hear that Elizabeth I is going to be appearing on the show at some point. And obviously Elizabeth, she's from the Church of England, because the Church of England, when Henry VIII wanted to get divorced from his wife, he split away from the Catholic Church, created his own church that he was the head of, so that he could make his own decisions. That's the church that Elizabeth was raised with. And so I think that's how she's going to kind of get brought into this scenario. And maybe she has a connection with Louis. I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I think maybe there's some muddied waters sort of similar to Bash and the paganism. Like, he is affiliated with it somewhat. There's a connection there, but it's not one that he would ever choose over.
He's a radical.
He's not going to, like, go crazy and be a villain. He's just, like, an affiliation that may bubble up somehow.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think when Francis does choose to put him on his privy council, which I think is going to happen, I think that's going to cause a lot of issues, because they're going to be like, you have a radical in your ear on your main council. So that's going to cause some stripes between them. But maybe he's also going to be in Mary's ear, and Mary's going to kind of agree with him more. So, because, Mary's all about the power too, because she struggles for it all the time. So, yeah. Anything else, guys?
No, that's it.
You guys ready for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Where can we find you guys until tomorrow?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JB_Zimmerman.
I don't know Fania's Twitter, but even though she wasn't here today, she'll be here tomorrow. You guys should definitely tweet at her.
I'm gonna look it up.
In the description, maybe, of the YouTube.
I'm sure Yael, our social media person, will tweet it out. Anyway, follow us here at AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that cool stuff. And Keetin,
you guys can find me.
She's looking up her Twitter.
I know. I'm looking up Fania's, because I'm gonna give Fania a shout out. Okay, you guys can find Fania at Fania Thomas. Easy enough.
Yeah.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keetin Marchi. Also Facebook too. But I'll keep tweeting out everything, even though I won't be here in person. I love Reign. And again, sorry we were late this week. It will not happen again. I promise. See you next week. Tomorrow.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.